from behind him, right across the frame of.
Right, that's fine.
But then I don't know where it's going.
It's somewhere there. Yeah, it looks it.
Hello and welcome to Naledi Online, the channel that just brings you different kinds of experts to give us tips on how we can do better in our lives, whether you're a business person, whether you are a social person, whatever it is, we find the experts and they give us advice. Today, I'm really excited to welcome Mr. Cephas Makoni, who's going to talk to us about business. If you are, whether you want to start a business or you're already running one, he's got a book that he's written that will help take your business to another level. So welcome, Mr. Cephas.
Thank you, Helena. I'm great to be here.
Excited, really,
Yes.
on our side. If you would just start by letting us know who you are, give us some background on who is Cephas Makoni. We want to get into the book's contents, but just to start there.
Okay. All right. Cephas Makoni is a supply chain practitioner. You know, I started the journey in 2001 when I joined Bulawayo Polytechnic with studying purchasing and supply, diploma in purchasing and supply. And then I also did an HND with the same institution. Of course, having done that, you probably want to start working. So I joined Bulawayo Rainbow as a buyer. And, I worked there, I think, for a year or so. And then I left. I joined the government. I was working as a procurement officer in the government institutions. And then, I then decided that, enough. It was not enough, having a diploma. So I enrolled for a degree in supply chain management. So I got an offer with the University of South Africa. So I did supply chain and operations management. And so here I am. And now I've just decided, enough is not enough. I need to, put all my thoughts into perspective, especially for businesses. Having realized that, Zimbabweans or Zimbabwean businesses rather, we need to do much more in terms of business. So I thought maybe if I bring a book in a Zimbabwean perspective, in an African perspective,
someone who's really in it yourself, you're experiencing
exactly
it.
Yeah. So that's what drove me to start writing a book on supply chain management.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, what is it about supply management or supply chain that you find really fascinating? What is it about it that makes it important for a business to know?
Okay. Today most businesses are anchored on supply chain management because basically we want to reduce the costs that we incur in our business. So the position that we anchor our businesses, will leverage that. So supply chain management is pivotal because it actually drives organization to realize that sometimes there is no need to have your costs being managed by any other department apart from just letting yourself know that if I do not want to produce, there's no need to produce. If I need to buy a certain number of materials, let me buy the materials so that I can produce the only goods that are required by the end customer. So supply chain integration or supply chain management leverages on that. It gives great ideas to business people that if you want to do business, then you must do business in the right way.
Fantastic. So your book, we just want to address the title itself. I see it's called Supply Chain Integration with Business Handy Hints, a handbook for SCM professionals, and it's the first edition. That promises more then.
Absolutely. We're not just going to end there. As you can see, it's not as thick as it could have been. So there's more that is coming. Absolutely. So supply chain integration speaks into the different synchronization of I think various aspects of business. So we are talking about procurement, we're talking about supply chain management, we're talking about inventory management, we're talking about production, we're talking about even responsible leadership.
I saw you also touched on marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the integration part is now we're saying that the business requires all that to function. You need to have a procurement function. You need to have an inventory management function. You need to have your marketing function. So in essence, this is why I had to integrate all the aspects into one, so that business can leverage on that.
Okay, is this your first book? Have you published something else before?
No, this is my first book. Supply Chain Integration is the first book. Yes.
And what would you say are the key elements? Maybe you can touch on one and just give us a few points on it. For instance, procurement. What are the important things you think a corporate today in Zimbabwe operating in this environment needs to look out for? Maybe somebody wants to start a business and they really weren't, I've noticed usually when someone is starting, they don't think about all these details that you have gone in and provided here.
Okay, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because, what we are looking at, when we talk about the various elements of supply chain management, procurement, supposedly, we talk about procurement. An organization needs to know what they procure. That's very important in terms of materials, because you don't need to put your materials in stock and then they tie up your capital, and then at the end of the day you do not have money for use for other things because you've got stock that is redundant in the warehouse. So supply chain management or procurement advises organizations that you only need to procure when you probably need to put a product out there to the customers. So, and then the other forces come in. In supply chain management, it's more like a relay. After procurement, then comes your conversion, your production and operations. You put your products in a more designed way that it doesn't cost the organization in any way. You're looking at the production designs. You need to put them in such a way that you can actually leverage on that, and then you move to the next function, which is almost the function that drives the goods out of the way. Out of the business, which is your warehousing, your inventory management, and then your marketing eventually. So the elements together are cohesive.
Yes.
They work to hand in glove. So now supply chain integration, outdoing the traditional way of doing business, where you'd find that most organizations were working in silo functionals. Functionals, we mean that each department was doing its own thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But with supply chain integration, now we are saying the business has got to integrate all their functions. They work together and they move the product to the customer satisfaction.
And how would you say perhaps technology today is coming into all this? How is it affected maybe the supply chain, or is it enhancing in any way? How can a business maybe take advantage of, let's say, technology to just improve on this whole process?
Okay.
Yes.
There are so many things. Procurement is the hub to the integration aspect of many things in business. So we are basically looking at technology, and especially artificial intelligence. We have products moving out of the business. You need trackers. So with the advent of technology, there is an aspect which is used in tracking.
And I like that aspect of tracking, because it really keeps you informed on exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is what is known as radio frequency identification, which is a new technology, which of course products are mounted with these tags, and you can track your product from anywhere else in the world. So I think
that's
technology.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think technology is doing great strides in supply chain, especially in the distribution function and warehousing function, where you probably don't need to, stock your products or put your products in any way, but it actually aids you in tracking these products in the warehouse.
This discussion, I wish we had enough time to go through all this, because this book is full of nuggets and tips that would help any business. I like it when you say here, any professional should participate in social and business discussions of high magnitude related to a specific profession as key to improving any of their skills. From this participation and constant interactions, it is possible to evaluate all interactive personal skills. And then you go on to just hit us with responsible leadership. Can you take us through that?
Okay. Right. Yeah. This is one of the greatest, or rather interesting areas in business, because, you'd find that most individuals are affected with these kind of leadership problems. So what I tried to do there was to highlight relevant issues that pertain to ethics in the profession. So
ethics
before
very
one
important.
Before one can do that, you need to do a lot of introspection, look into yourself, and probably adjust in terms of your psychological balance. So that's very important as well. Right. So that's why I decided to include a topic on responsible leadership in supply chain management.
All right. So what kind of person really should be doing this kind of job? You speaking of ethics, what should they be like?
Yeah, we are looking at well-balanced people psychologically, and people who have integrity. People
integrity,
who are,
yes,
people
very
who
important.
Are, people who are honest with themselves first. Because you don't know, you cannot say you are honest when you're not honest with yourself.
That's true.
That's where it starts.
You want to be honest even when nobody's looking.
Absolutely.
That's integrity.
Yeah,
doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's there in that book. We call it deontology. Even when nobody is looking at you, you want to do the right thing, even if you are in a dark corner by yourself and you've got 1 million sitting there. It doesn't belong to you. Right. You will not take it. So this is exactly what we are talking about when we mention responsible leadership. We have been affected.
Yes, I was greatly. About to ask, what challenges have you seen?
Yeah, we have been affected greatly. Yeah, in the profession, where institutions have been tainted. So it's because people take ethics for granted.
I hear you.
You see, the moral perspective of life, is what we value. It's very responsible when we take it to business. That's where it boils down. You want to do the right thing in business. So how do you do that? You've got to do introspection. You've got to do, you've got to understand, there are psychological issues pertaining to that, and you need to adjust well to that. So that's why we included a topic on responsible leadership for supply chain management.
In your own experience, what are some of the challenges that people that work in this field are facing? Let's say somebody has the integrity you speak of, but they are faced with a situation where on the other side integrity is not existing. How do they transact? How do they do their purchasing? How do they do their work? What would you advise a person in a situation like that?
Absolutely. We've got, I know what you're talking about. We've got, probably, a junior purchaser is being faced with the CEO is actually specifying where to buy, and
they just want to do their job.
Yeah, they just want to do their job. So what I can advise people, or junior purchasers, or people who are involved in supply chain management, is that maintain integrity.
That's right.
There is no way you can you'd rather get fired for doing the right thing than staying in an organization that will lead you to do the wrong thing. So what I can advise to all those who are coming into the profession,
this field, yes.
yeah, into this field, is that you need to be very responsible. Even if you are told that you are going to lose your job because you haven't done ABC for the CEO, let it be. You get it.
Very, very important. Thank you for that. Actually, I know somebody somewhere really would want to learn from those that are already in it, and I think it also inspires those that want to get into the field. So what's your life philosophy yourself? I mean, you have worked in this for years. What's your life philosophy? How do you conduct yourself in this field?
Well, I have positioned myself to be an honest person. That's the reason why I've decided to put this book together because I want people who haven't experienced what I experienced during my working life, to understand that you need to put yourself together and face the challenges. Absolutely. So in any way, when you're faced with challenges, just look inwardly and tell yourself, no, you can do it.
Tell me, are there rewards in this field? Are there rewards in getting all your work done with integrity in this particular field? Does one rise to certain positions? Is there, what sort of career path are we talking about here? This is for somebody who's thinking of getting into it. What sort of rewards can they expect? What sort of growth can they expect?
Yeah, okay. As a business person, you can, if you decide to start a business, you can use supply chain management to start your own business because this is the start of business. You don't need any money to start a business, but you need the idea. Yes. So as long as you have what it takes, you use the what you have acquired probably in terms of skills, and you want to start a business, this is the right book to use.
Yes, I see it can actually be a reference material for those that are still studying or those that are starting their businesses, those that are running businesses, whether you want to grow your business. I see this book does have quite a lot of chapters and information that I know one would not read in a day, and just, it's a reference material to have in your library.
Absolutely.
So and when you're not writing, I mean, what else are you doing? Because to come up with material like this, surely you must spend a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do you also then relax? What do you do?
Well, I love watching cricket a lot, so I take my boys out there and go to watch cricket. And I also do a lot of cooking at home. Yes.
So you see, there you have it. It's not just skills in this writing, but also interest in other areas, which kind of makes a balanced individual.
Yes.
Because I'm looking and thinking the advice that you're giving to somebody out there is valuable, and it comes from experience, I take it, that you've had. And thank you for sharing this, all of this information in a book like this. So where would one find it, really?
Okay. You can get in touch with me.
Okay.
Yeah, on my...
I think we will give your contact details at the end of the of this video, so that anyone needing to get in touch with you on this can actually get in touch with you. Would you just hold it up? I think I want someone to just see what it looks like. It's a great book.
All right.
So that's the title, Supply Chain Integration. And you can get in touch with Mr. Cephas Makoni. We will provide his details. But before we let you go, I think I was just going to find out from you, what advice would you give to someone who's saying to themselves right now, I'm giving up in this profession?
Okay, very good question there. And I would like to urge you that don't even give up. Stay put into the profession because you've got so much to unpack. There's a lot more coming with regards to supply chain management. So stay put, and I urge you not to be swayed by anybody.
Are there conferences? Are there resources that they can access, conferences and a way they can attend and maybe just get their encouragement? Because I'm seeing out there in businesses that there's something happening, there's a disheartening that has been happening in terms of especially this supply chain.
Okay.
Yeah, are there conferences at all?
Yeah, absolutely. There are conferences, because what we have done is we have an association called Supply Chain Association of Zimbabwe. Okay. Which I'm also a co-founder.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Of that institution. So if one wants to join, I think the details are available online. It's called Supply Chain Association of Zimbabwe. So we hold conferences regarding all the aspects of supply chain management.
And there's sort of like good support.
Absolutely.
To encourage people to still uphold the ethics that you were speaking of, in spite of what may be happening around them, to just not join the bandwagon of, just going with the flow, but continuing to uphold the ethics.
This is the reason why we decided to create that organization, because we realized that a lot of professionals were dismayed by the act itself.
Okay.
So we want to sort of encourage them that this is not the end of the day for the profession. There's still hope. We can come together and discuss a lot of issues pertaining to what we are facing, or the challenges that we face in our organization with regards to supply chain management. So this is the reason why we created a Supply Chain Association of Zimbabwe, which I'm also a co-founder to that organization.
And how does one join? How do they become a member?
Well, we have an office in Marlborough, and we also provide the details at the end of this.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. How one can join the profession. Rather to become a member of the Supply Chain Association of Zimbabwe. Of course, I've been given permission by the Vice President, to speak.
Okay.
On behalf of Supply Chain Association of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. So your invitation, what's your invitation to wrap up for those that might want to maybe be part of that association, those that may want to join supply chain? What is so exciting about supply chain integration that you could say, speak to someone?
Okay. Yeah, well, if you, like I've previously mentioned, if you are into business, this is the hub of business, supply chain management.
The heartbeat.
Yeah, yes. The heartbeat.
Yeah,
because what we are basically saying is that before somebody starts managing your finances, you need to create the business.
Right.
So the way you create the business is by starting with the idea and having to think about probably the materials that you want to use in your business. And only then can you start a business, because you do not want to stock up a lot of material which is going to be redundant for a long period of time. Then at the end of the day, you can't sell it, or you do not even know how to market the product itself. So you've got to have all these concepts rather at your at your fingertips, or you need to have these concepts running through your blood before you can start asking somebody to manage the finances. So this is very important.
And you also do give advice on marketing strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. With supply chain management, is like I've already alluded to earlier on, it's a relay. Yeah, after your production and operations, you need to put the product to the customer, and customer service management is very important
Wow, I know we won't have enough time to go through every chapter and touch on every aspect that you have included in this book, but I do know that somebody there who's running their business or planning to start a business or just wanting to grow their business will definitely find this very, very valuable in their library. So thank you so much for just affording us this time to chat briefly on your book, and we hope that since it's the first edition, there will be more coming.
Absolutely, there will be more coming. Thank you so much, Lina.
Thank you very much.